lonely millionaire, Ethan Mercer spent every Christmas in a house so quiet it felt more like a memory than a home. Year after year, he sat at a long table set for one, pretending the silence didn't bother him. Town gossip said he preferred being alone, but the truth sat heavier than anyone knew. Then the new maid, Maya Alvarez, walked into his life with a single invitation that didn't seem dangerous at first. It was simple, unexpected, and completely out of place in his controlled world. He almost ignored it until something in her voice made him stop. And that's when everything began to shift. Ethan Mercer stepped out of his stone front estate the way he did every December morning, quiet, measured, and unnoticed by anyone who didn't already know he lived on the hill above town. His long driveway wound past trimmed hedges, tall gates, and a fountain that still ran even in winter cold. Everything about him looked controlled, from the tailored coat to the polished shoes that never touched snow unless he chose to. The town saw wealth when they looked up at that house. They never saw the man walking out of it, shoulders a little too tight, eyes a little too tired. Down in the streets, people liked to talk. At the bakery, someone always muttered that Ethan thought he was above everyone. At the gas station, someone else claimed he didn't care about Christmas or kindness or company. None of them had spoken more than 2 sentences to him. But judgment didn't need truth. It only needed a name and a direction to point. When Ethan entered town for a quick errand, conversations shifted. People stepped aside politely, but with a noticeable stiffness. A few nodded, but their eyes held questions they never asked. Even Claire Donovan, who volunteered at the shelter and usually gave everyone the benefit of the doubt, found herself watching him with quiet caution. She wasn't unkind, just uncertain. Everyone had theories about why he kept his distance. None of them matched the reality Ethan kept locked behind a steady expression. He walked through the store, bought only what he needed, and left without lingering. No greetings, no small talk, no reason to stay. Back at the estate, the gates opened slowly. Waiting at the front steps, with a single suitcase and a hopeful, uncertain breath, stood Maya Alvarez, about to walk into a world she didn't know would change her life. Before Maya Alvarez ever stepped inside Ethan's estate, she paused at the bottom of the hill, where an older woman struggled with a grocery bag that had torn open on the icy sidewalk. People passed by with quick glances, rushing to their own errands, but Maya didn't hesitate. She knelt beside the scattered cans, her palms red from the cold, and gathered everything with careful hands. The woman tried to apologize for slowing her down, but Maya only smiled and offered her own cloth bag, insisting she take it. It wasn't a dramatic moment. It wasn't loud or attention-seeking. It was simple, quiet compassion, the kind that came naturally to her, as though she didn't know any other way to move through the world. Claire Donovan noticed the exchange while stepping out of the nearby shelter. She raised an eyebrow, surprised to see kindness without an audience. That alone set Maya apart from most newcomers. Claire watched as Maya walked the woman all the way to her door, carrying the groceries without expecting thanks. Only then did Maya turn back toward the estate on the hill, shoulders squared, determination steady. She didn't know Ethan Mercer yet, but her small act of kindness was already setting something new in motion. Maya's first morning on the estate began with an accident she hadn't planned on making. She reached for a stack of linens in the hallway closet, only to tug the wrong corner and send the entire pile sliding straight onto Ethan Mercer's polished shoes as he rounded the corner. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. Maya's face went red. Ethan's expression froze in the kind of silence that looked more startled than angry. "I swear these towels jumped," she blurted, kneeling to collect them. Ethan blinked, taken off guard. "They've never done that for anyone else." "Lucky me," she said, trying to laugh at her own mess. Her voice wobbled, but the honesty of it softened something in Ethan's posture. He crouched down beside her, picking up a towel with awkward hesitation. "I'm not usually invited to help," he admitted. "Consider this your initiation," she replied, handing him a lopsided stack. For the first time in longer than he cared to admit, Ethan let out a quiet, genuine laugh, short but real. Maya looked up, surprised by the warmth in it. That small shared moment, born from clumsy towels and nervous humor, cracked open a door neither of them had expected to find. When Maya left the hallway to finish her morning duties, Ethan stepped into his study and shut the door behind him. The room was the only place in the house he kept untouched by the staff. Lights dim, shelves heavy with old binders, and a single locked drawer he hadn't opened in months. He stood there for a long moment, staring at it the way someone might stare at a wound they couldn't treat. Only the audience would ever know why. Years ago, Ethan had built his fortune from a company he started with a childhood friend. Success came fast, but so did pressure. One December, after a bitter argument over money and direction, that friend drove away in a storm and never made it home. Rumors blamed Ethan, but he didn't need rumors to punish him. He'd carried that guilt through every holiday since, convinced he didn't deserve company or joy. He believed isolation was safer for him and everyone around him. Across town, Maya carried a secret of her own, tucked inside a worn folder hidden in her single suitcase. Inside were medical bills, overdue notices, and a community college acceptance letter she couldn't afford to use. Her younger brother's health had drained every savings she had, and taking this job was her last chance to keep him stable. She never wanted pity, so she worked harder, smiled brighter, and hid the truth, even from strangers who might have understood. The two of them, one consumed by guilt, the other by responsibility, had walked into each other's lives without knowing how tightly their hidden burdens were already pulling at their futures. And neither had any idea how soon those secrets would collide. By the third week, a quiet rhythm settled into the estate. One Ethan hadn't expected, and Maya hadn't planned for. Their days formed a kind of unspoken partnership, built from small routines and accidental lessons that kept pulling them closer. Mornings started with Ethan trying, and usually failing, to make his own coffee before Maya walked in and gently rescued the process. He claimed he preferred it strong. She claimed he preferred it drinkable. Their back and forth never failed to spark a short laugh from him. Afternoons brought trial and error. Maya learned the delicate way to polish the antique clock without triggering Ethan's nervous warning about its age. He learned that she hummed when concentrating, and that her humming somehow made paperwork feel less heavy. When the kitchen sink clogged, Maya insisted she could fix it. Ethan watched with hidden amusement as she wrestled with a wrench until he finally stepped in, guiding her hand with patient instruction. In the evenings, they sometimes crossed paths in the library. Maya dusted shelves while Ethan sorted old documents, but the work always slowed as they shared scraps of conversation, favorite childhood food, the first job they ever had, stories that made the other smile. These tiny moments stitched together something steady and real, long before either of them recognized it happening. One evening, the estate felt unusually still, wrapped in the early winter hush that came before snowfall. Maya had stayed late to finish tidying the library, and Ethan lingered nearby, sorting through a stack of old donation paperwork he kept avoiding. A soft crackle came from the fireplace, the only sound filling the long room. It made everything feel closer than it should have. Maya reached for a book on the top shelf, stretching a little too far. Without thinking, Ethan stepped behind her and steadied the ladder with both hands. She froze for a moment, noticing the quiet assurance in his voice when he said, "I've got you." Simple words, but far warmer than he meant them to be. She climbed down carefully, and when her feet reached the floor, they stood closer than either had planned. Ethan handed her the book, but neither moved back. The air held a charge neither of them wanted to name. "You've changed this house," he said softly, surprising himself. "It doesn't feel as empty." Maya blinked, taken off guard. "I just clean and keep things running. Anyone could do that." "No," he replied, shaking his head. "Not like you." Her breath caught, and she looked away, trying to steady the warmth rising in her chest. "Ethan, you give me too much credit." "I don't think I give you enough," he said, voice low, almost unsure. For a long moment, they stood in a silence that felt fragile and full. Maya's fingers brushed his when she tried to hand the book back. The touch was small, accidental, but it lingered, neither pulling away. Something hovered between them, unspoken, trembling, close. Ethan opened his mouth slightly, as if to say what he'd held back for weeks. "Maya, but the words didn't come. Not yet. And the moments slipped, just enough to keep them both wondering what almost happened. The next week, trouble arrived in the form of Darren Holt, Ethan's old acquaintance, and the last person he ever wanted to see at his door. Darren stepped inside the estate, dressed in a tailored coat and a smile that felt more like a warning than a greeting. He claimed he was just in town for business, but his tone carried the familiar edge of competition Ethan remembered too well. Maya was in the foyer polishing the railing when Darren's eyes landed on her. His smile widened just enough to make Ethan tense. "New staff?" Darren asked, voice smooth and far too curious. Before Ethan could answer, Darren leaned closer to him. "You're finally letting people in again. That's unexpected." Her words hit harder than they should have. Later that afternoon, Darren joined Ethan for coffee in the study, uninvited but persistent. He looked around the room with false admiration. "You know, people in town are talking. They say you've gotten close to your housekeeper." His tone made the harmless word sound inappropriate. "Interesting choice, considering your history." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Leave her out of this." Darren lifted a brow, amused. "So it's true." What neither of them realized was that Maya had paused in the hall, hearing every word. Darren's suggestion, careless, mocking, landed like a stone in her chest. She stepped back before either man saw her. That evening, Ethan attempted to return to the steady rhythm he and Maya had built, but something in her demeanor had changed. She worked quietly, avoiding his eyes. The warmth of their near confession had been replaced with uncertainty he didn't understand. When Darren left with a smug wave, Ethan felt the damage long before he understood its source. And Maya, heart tight with doubt, wondered if she had misread everything between them. That night, after the estate went quiet, Ethan sat at his desk, staring at the documents he'd avoided for weeks. Maya's employment forms, the small notes she had left about her schedule, and the way she had quietly pulled away since Darren's visit. Her distance unsettled him more than he wanted to admit. He opened his laptop and pulled up the foundation account he hadn't used in years. With a steady breath, he made a decision he told no one about. He contacted the community college listed on a brochure Maya had left buried under a pile of mail in the kitchen. He asked about tuition, deadlines, and financial assistance. Then, using a private fund under an anonymous donor, he arranged for her next semester to be fully covered. No name attached, no recognition, just a silent effort to give her something she'd been working toward alone. When the confirmation email arrived, Ethan leaned back, uneasy with the secrecy, but certain of his intention. He didn't want credit. He only wanted to lessen the weight he saw her carry. Down the hall, Maya lay awake, sensing something shifting between them, but unable to name it. Neither of them knew how soon this secret act would be exposed and how much damage it would cause. The blow arrived on a cold Thursday morning, sharper than either of them expected. Maya had rushed into town to handle errands before her shift. At the community college office, she planned only to ask about payment extensions, hoping to keep her enrollment from slipping away. But when she gave her name, the clerk tapped a few keys, nodded politely, and said, "You're all set. Your tuition was covered last night by your sponsor." "My what?" Maya asked, stunned. "Your anonymous donor, large contribution, cleared your balance completely." She felt the floor tilt. Only one person could have done that. Only one person had the resources, the opportunity, and the motive, especially after hearing Darren's insinuations. Her chest tightened, not with gratitude, but with humiliation. She hadn't asked for this. She hadn't wanted Ethan to think she needed saving. She returned to the estate with the confirmation letter clutched in her hand, trembling with hurt she couldn't hide. Ethan met her at the doorway, relieved to see her, ready to bridge the distance between them. But she held up the letter before he could speak. "You did this?" Her voice cracked. Ethan froze. "Maya, I was trying to help." "Help," she repeated, disbelief shaking through her. "You went behind my back. You used your money to fix my life like I'm some problem you can solve." "That's not what I meant. But it's what you did." He stepped closer, she stepped back. For the first time, Maya saw the power gap between them laid bare. His wealth, her struggle, all of it illuminated in one silent transaction. The warmth they built felt suddenly fragile, built on ground she wasn't sure she could trust. "I thought I mattered to you," she whispered. "Not my situation, me." "You do," he said, voice breaking. "Then why did you treat me like I couldn't stand on my own?" The room fell silent, wrecked, aching, as the truth settled between them, heavier than either expected. Maya left the estate before Ethan could say another word. She didn't slam the door, but the quiet click of it felt louder than any argument. By the time she reached the bottom of the hill, her breath shook from more than the cold. She walked to her small apartment, dropped her keys onto the counter, and sank onto the floor, with the tuition letter still crumpled in her fist. She didn't cry loudly, just small, uneven breaths that came from a place she had tried to guard for years. The kind of hurt that came when pride, gratitude, and betrayal tangled together until she couldn't tell them apart. She had worked so hard to stand on her own. She had taken every job, every shift, every burden. And with one decision she never asked for, Ethan had made her feel powerless again. Not intentionally, but that didn't make it hurt less. A soft knock sounded on her door. When she opened it, Claire Donovan stood there, holding a grocery bag and wearing a concerned frown. "You okay?" she asked gently. Maya didn't trust her voice, so she just stepped aside. Claire entered, set the bag on the counter, and knelt beside her. "Word travels fast in small towns," she said, not unkindly. "But I came because I figured you might need someone to sit with you, no judgment." Maya finally let the words spill, halting and raw. Claire listened quietly, never interrupting, letting the frustration and confusion pour out. When Maya's voice finally fell to a whisper, Claire touched her shoulder. "You're hurt because you care," she said simply. "And he helped because he cares. Wrong method, maybe. Wrong timing, yes. But intentions matter too." Maya looked down. "I don't know what to do." Claire's voice softened. "You don't have to decide everything tonight. But don't walk away forever without telling him what actually broke you. Truth only heals when you face it." Maya exhaled slowly, the weight in her chest shifting. Not gone, but no longer suffocating. A small, trembling step forward had just become possible. Maya returned to the estate the next evening, her heart unsteady but determined. Snow dusted the steps and the house glowed faintly from the inside. She knocked once, then twice. Ethan opened the door with a look somewhere between hope and fear. "Maya," he breathed. "We need to talk," she said quietly. He stepped aside, leaving space between them. She walked into the sitting room, choosing the plainest chair, the one farthest from his desk, his influence, his money. Ethan stayed near the doorway for a moment before moving closer, unsure where to stand. "I wasn't trying to control you," he began. She shook her head. "I didn't come for excuses. I came for honesty." He swallowed hard and nodded. Maya held the tuition letter in her hands. "When I found out someone paid this, I felt small. Like all my work, all my effort didn't matter anymore. I've spent years trying to stay afloat. I needed my choices to be mine." Ethan lowered his gaze. "I wasn't thinking about power. I was thinking about you leaving, pulling away. I didn't know how to fix it, and I panicked. I saw something you needed, and I thought if I handled it quietly, it would lighten your load." "It didn't," she said softly. "It made me feel like I was a project, not a person, not someone you trusted to make my own decisions." His voice cracked. "You're not a project. You're the first person I've let close in years. I didn't know how to help without hurting." Silence settled between them, heavy but not hopeless. Maya's eyes softened. "You should have talked to me." "I should have," he whispered, "and I'm sorry." She let out a slow breath. "I don't want your money, Ethan. But I do care about you. That's why this hurts so much." He stepped closer, careful, almost afraid. "Tell me how to make it right." Maya met his eyes. "Start by treating me like someone who stands beside you, not below you." "I can do that," he said, voice steadying, "if you'll give me the chance." For the first time since the fallout, something in her chest eased, something that felt like the beginning of repair. The days that followed didn't heal everything at once. They weren't meant to. Instead, Maya and Ethan moved through a quiet, careful process of rebuilding, step by step, conversation by conversation, action by action. Ethan began by changing the one thing he had always feared adjusting: his routines. Instead of hiding in his study, he joined the town's holiday food drive after Claire gently nudged him. He arrived awkwardly, hands too stiff and unsure, but he stayed. Maya watched from across the room as he packed boxes beside volunteers who once whispered about him. He didn't brag, didn't explain. He simply showed up and worked. Back at the estate, he asked before deciding. If Maya rearranged something, he didn't correct her. When she mentioned her classes, he listened without offering solutions. Their conversations grew steadier, grounded in mutual respect instead of worry. Maya changed too. She accepted help from Claire without apologizing for needing it. She let herself believe she didn't have to shoulder every burden alone. She still worked hard, still carried responsibility, but she didn't hide her exhaustion or her dreams anymore. She spoke openly to Ethan about her college plans, her brother's health, her fear of depending on anyone. And Ethan didn't interrupt or judge. He learned what it meant simply to hear someone fully. Small moments wove them back together. A shared cup of tea on a cold afternoon. A walk through the garden where they didn't need to fill the silence. A subtle smile from Maya when Ethan gently teased her about her habit of humming while she cleaned. A quiet laugh from him as she corrected his attempts at holiday decorating. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't sudden. It was steady, honest, and real. The kind of reconnection built not from comfort, but from choice. By the end of the second week, the distance that once weighed on them had thinned into something warm again. Something hopeful. Something ready for the next step neither dared name yet. Christmas arrived with a soft snowfall, the kind that made the whole town look gentler. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't wake to an empty house. Instead, the estate hummed with quiet activity. Maya baking cookies in the kitchen, Claire stopping by with donated blankets for the shelter later, and a warm fire flickering in the sitting room. It wasn't a party. It wasn't extravagant. It was simple, human, full of life. Ethan stepped into the kitchen, finding Maya laughing softly as she tried, and repeatedly failed, to shape the dough into perfect stars. When she looked up, there was no distance in her eyes, only warmth. "I have something for you," he said, offering a small envelope. She hesitated, but he shook his head gently. Nothing big, nothing hidden. Inside was a printed schedule, her upcoming college classes. I withdrew the donation. Ethan said, "The school returned it. These are your classes, fully in your name. I only asked them to hold your spot until you decided. The choice is yours, completely." Maya's breath caught, not because of the paper, but because of the honesty behind it. "Thank you," she whispered, "for listening." He stepped closer. "I'm trying to learn. And I'm trying to trust," she said quietly. The moment hung between them, steady, open, earned. Ethan reached out, giving her the chance to step away if she wanted. She didn't. Her hand met his, fingers threading gently, naturally, as though the distance between them had been waiting for this exact second to disappear. "Stay for dinner?" he asked. She smiled. "Only if you help with the cookies." He laughed, a warm, full sound that filled the house in a way it hadn't heard in years. And as the snow continued to fall outside, Ethan and Maya shared the first Christmas neither of them spent alone. Not out of need, not out of obligation, but out of choice. Quiet, honest, and filled with the promise of something lasting. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If it moved you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me which moment stayed with you most, or which character you connected with. Your comments help shape the next stories we share together. And if you want more tales of second chances, courage, and quiet hope, make sure to subscribe to Echoes of Hope. Every new story is created to bring warmth, reflection, and comfort to your day. Leave a comment, hit subscribe, and let's keep this community growing with kindness and storytelling.